Well, if you're a gun voter in Fremont County, you have a choice to make in the upcoming August 20 Republican Party primary. Representative Pepper Ottman or her challenger, Reg Phillips. Who's going to fight for your gun rights in the Wyoming House? Stay tuned, guys. We're breaking this race down for you right now. Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with Wyoming Gun Owners. The August primary is coming up fast, and we're being asked about primary races all across the state, and that includes House District 34, which is a massive portion of Fremont County. And the question we're being asked this time of year, this year in particular, is not who's pro-gun or not who claims to be pro-gun. Because WYGO members are smart, and we all know now that everyone claims to be pro-gun in a primary. Everyone says they're a champion. Everyone's going to be a hero. And so often we experience the exact opposite in Cheyenne. So the question is not who says they're pro-gun. The question is, how do we know who we can believe in? Who can we trust? If we send this person to Cheyenne, will they fight for my gun rights or join the swamp? That's the question you've been asking us. Now, guys, in this race, we're not going to tell you who to vote for. What we will do, though, is give you guys the information you have to make your own most informed decision. We're going to combine voting histories, our candidate survey program, public statements made for or against your gun rights to give you a very thorough deep dive on these two candidates. And we're going to begin with Reg Phillips. Now, the problem with Reg is pretty simple. The guy will not complete his Wyoming Gun Owners Gun Rights Candidate Questionnaire. He will not do it. And when a candidate will not survey with an organization like WYGO, that almost always means that candidate does not support the issue, in this case, the Second Amendment. It usually means that they intend to join the swamp, join the rhinos in Cheyenne, and work behind closed doors or in committees to sabotage pro-gun bills, or vote for outright gun control like we saw this session in Cheyenne. So for Reg to not survey at election time is a very dangerous sign. Now, sometimes candidates just mistakenly forget it. They lost it. It happens. So we mail it to them, we email it to them, we mail it to them, we text them, but still we have not heard from Reg. So then I thought, you know what, we'll go to his website and just see. If the guy has like a detailed 10-point two-way platform, that'd be encouraging. So we went to his website, we looked at it online, and there is zero mention of gun rights in any capacity on his website at all. In fact, there is basically no policy positions of any kind on any issue, on any topic on Reg Phillips' website. The question then you have to ask yourself is pretty simple. Why? Why would a candidate not want to talk about the Second Amendment in Wyoming in a primary? Why would a candidate not want to survey in a primary in Wyoming with a Second Amendment organization? The answers are not very reassuring. I can at least tell you that much. In our experience, if a candidate looks like a rhino, walks like a rhino, and talks like a rhino, they're almost always a rhino. And that's our grave concern when it comes to Reg Phillips. Now that brings up Pepper Ottman. Now Pepper's been there for 4 years, not a long time in Cheyenne, but during those 4 years, you know, a lot of times you have a freshman gets elected and they kind of want to be quiet and not do anything and kind of like sit down and just kind of like ride the chair for a while. Not Pepper. For her 4 years, she's been a firecracker fighting for the Second Amendment. I'm going to kind of go in reverse order from most recent to older stuff to give you guys some context. First things first, Pepper has surveyed 100% pro-gun with WYGO. You can see her survey right now on our website. You can print it off. You can keep a copy. That's how you can hold your officials accountable in Cheyenne. But more important than her survey, Pepper Ottman has fought for your gun rights for the last couple of years in Cheyenne. In particular, this year was a major year for gun rights. We passed Senate File 109. The governor actually signed it. It is now law. And what SF 109 does is it bans red flag gun seizures here in Wyoming. You've all heard of a red flag law. They've got them in Colorado. Someone doesn't like you, maybe it's an ex-spouse or a liberal neighbor, calls you in, you might be dangerous, they say. The cops then go to a judge and they say, he might be dangerous. The judge signs the order because they almost always sign the seizure order. And just like that, your guns are taken. You've not been charged with a crime or convicted of a crime, indicted of a crime, nothing. But just like that, your guns are gone. That cannot happen now here in Wyoming because we passed SF 109, and it was Pepper Ottman who fought hard on the floor to get that done. Specifically, what that means is once the rhinos realized that they were going to have to pass SF 109, once they could not kill the bill in committee, their final stand to destroy the bill was to run a series of harmful amendments to kill, gut, or otherwise make impotent the impact of Senate File 109. And for that, they turned to Bob Nicholas, the old rhino warhorse in Cheyenne in the House. Bob Nicholas ran 4 amendments that were designed to kill the bill. One said, for example, that there's no teeth in the bill. So if we passed it, which we did, there's no way to enforce it. That amendment died because Pepper helped oppose that. The next amendment talked about exempting judicial orders. In other words, a red flag law is illegal except if a liberal judge signs a red flag order. It's a complete kill amendment. That amendment died because Pepper helped us oppose the amendment. The next one said, hey, this does not apply to federal red flag gun seizure orders. Yeah, that's great, Bob. The last thing we need is to have Joe Biden or, God forbid, Kamala Harris passing federal red flag laws and have Wyoming cops enforce that garbage here in Wyoming. That amendment also died. All the amendments died. You can see it right now online. It was March 6th of this year on Senate File 109 because Pepper Ottman stood there and fought hard to safeguard SF 109. The same thing happened, though, with House Bill 125. You've heard about this probably by now. This legislation would repeal deadly gun-free zones in Wyoming. And we all know how stupid gun-free zones are. Criminals ignore those stupid policies. In fact, they look to these gun-free zones to carry out their mass attacks because they know you and I are disarmed and helpless and cannot defend ourselves in these areas. This bill was designed to repeal gun-free zones. This was a WIGO drafted bill, repackaged this year to get it done. We got it done. And then Governor Gordon vetoes the bill as a favor to all of his rhino crony lobby organizations. And after that happened, we were adjourned for the year. The only way to fix that problem is to override Governor Gordon's veto, but you have to be in session in Cheyenne to override the veto and ram that bill down Governor Gordon's throat. So we had to call for a special session to reconvene, to call them all back to Cheyenne to have that override session. We had the votes in the Senate, but in the House, we fell short. That did not actually happen. But that was a major contentious moment in the House this session. And Pepper Ottman was right there leading the charge, calling for a special session to help us get that done. And finally, going back 2 years, Pepper Ottman fought hard for SEPA legislation, the Second Amendment Preservation Act. You guys probably know what happened here. The good version died. The rhinos passed a weakened version. We have no real protections right now here in Wyoming because of the actions of the rhinos, but Pepper Ottman was right there fighting hard for the real version of SEPA. So guys, in her 4 years, Pepper has had a long list of accomplishments, a long list of victories, fighting for the Second Amendment. On the floor, the amendment votes, floor roll call votes, committee votes. Pepper Ottman's been there and done that, fighting for gun rights. If you see Pepper, be sure and thank her for always standing up for your gun rights and fighting hard for them in Cheyenne. If you come across Reg Phillips, I'd be like, dude, you look like a rhino. You act like a rhino. Are you a rhino? And I'd ask him more specifically, why won't you fill out the WIGO candidate survey? Why don't you put your views on gun rights in writing? Ask him those questions, guys, and see what he has to say. Do me a favor, guys. This is our recap on this race. Share it on social media. You can find this on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, our website, wherever you find it. Share it on your own social media platforms. Make sure everyone knows about these two candidates. And guys, join the fight today at joinwygo.com.